Karoline Leavitt is crashing out hard, folks. She clearly cannot handle the pressure of having to do her job. She's in over her head, and she got so mad with the press pool on Tuesday that she abruptly just left. She ended the press conference, walked out the door after just 20 minutes. And the reason she did that, of course, was because the big news Tuesday were the Epstein files. Just like that was the big news on Monday and the big news on Wednesday. Pretty much the big news for quite some time now has been the Epstein files. But of course, we learned about Howard Lutnick this week. Pam Bondi had to go in front of Congress. We got names named on the floor of the House of Representatives. So it was the big news that everybody wanted to talk about on Tuesday. Everybody, that is, except for Karoline Leavitt. So when she was finally asked about Howard Lutnick, she decided to say that, of course, Donald Trump stands by him 100%. And then she went on a tirade delivering this ridiculous monologue about how nobody's asking her the questions that she wants to be asked. Instead, y'all want to talk about this Epstein thing. She said, I will just point out that there are a lot of wins in the news this week that people in this room have not asked about. You continue to ask questions about the same subject, so let me point them out for you again. She then went on to say that on Friday, the stock market hit 50,000. It's the highest ever. Woo. She also said that a surgeons group came out and said, we don't endorse performing what she called genital mutilation on minors, which for the record, unless a medical necessity, is not something that's done. So this surgeon group came out and said, we're against something that's not happening. Wonderful. And of course, she said, and a judge said we can continue our horrible immigration policies, which sure, one judge did in a lower court. All of the other court rulings from the last 4 days said, you guys are violating the law left and right. You have to stop right now. So none of those things that she bragged about were wins. But she was mad that nobody wanted to talk about those things. Why? Because those were clearly the things that this inexperienced moron had prepped for. She wasn't prepared to answer questions about Epstein. She only wanted to talk about these things. And then when people didn't ask her about the things she wanted to talk about, she got mad, took her ball, and went home. That's not how you handle a real adult job, Karoline. Look, I know you're still young. You're still in your 20s. But you've got a hell of a lot of growing up to do. Even at, 27 or 28, however old you are, you should be grown up at that point. Okay, you've grown out of the craziness of your early 20s. You're not in college anymore. You have a real professional job. And your job is to answer, or at least to a degree address, the questions of the press of the United States of America. You clearly cannot handle that job. Therefore, you clearly should not have that job. You do not have the temperament for it. You do not have the intelligence for it. So how about you go put on your big girl pants, look in the mirror, admit to yourself you're in over your head and you can't handle the pressure of it, and tell Donald Trump that you resign. You'll be fine. You'll land on your feet. I mean, you've got a multimillionaire elderly husband to go home to every night. Not to mention the fact that I'm sure that any conservative media outlet would pay you millions of dollars to go be a host on there. So you'll do even better leaving the White House. We're not ever going to be done with you, unfortunately. But this particular job, you have proven time and time again, you have neither the temperament nor the intelligence to be able to handle it. And running away from the press, when handling the press is your job, is not an option, Karoline. So grow up and resign. Have you, or someone you know, ever had your identity stolen, been a victim of fraud, or been hacked, scammed, doxxed? How does it make you feel that so much of your information is available for anyone to purchase? That's why I recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to my family and friends. Aura protects your privacy by identifying data brokers who are selling your information. Aura takes care of the hard part, automatically removing your information from these sites and, most importantly, keeping it off. There are a lot of services that offer this too, but none of them offer as many features as Aura and for the same price. Aura is all-in-one digital security. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked, but then leaving the back door wide open. You get alerts if your personal information is found on the dark web. They provide real-time fraud alerts for both credit and banking. They have 24/7 monitoring to help keep your identity secure. They provide a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, you name it. And they have US-based support available around the clock if something does go wrong. And if anything does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. And they have US fraud experts that are ready to help you 24/7. It's one app that provides every layer of protection. I don't want to leave myself vulnerable online, and you shouldn't either. And that's why I personally use Aura. Try it for yourself. Go to aura.com/Farron to try 14 days for free. That's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal information off these data broker sites without you having to lift a finger.